Hey folks, how's it going? RedMaster, and welcome back to an episode of Cards and Castles TV commentary. We've got some fantastic matches lined up for you today. Tried to grab in some of the newer faces on the TV this time around, but obviously we gotta throw in some old favorites into the mix too. So I guess without any further delay, we've got games to get to, things to see. Let's go ahead and start off with game number one. And folks, match number one is going to be Duke taking on Pipe, a common Warlock Crusader, going up against the Druid Crusader. Very interested to see what Druid Crusader is bringing to the mix, though, and I was pretty interested. Because, you know, Piss Zoo got to try and represent out here, even though I don't think anyone's running it. But one can only hope. So we're going to probably start out with a Priest on the turn 2 here. Yep, looks like it's going to go. Getting a bit of a castle health lead, which is important against this matchup here. The Warlock Crusaders delivering the burn from things like Imp, as well as some other shady things, Flamestorm, Drain Life, etc, etc. Looks like the Imp will connect to the castle. Priest will be kept alive, which is not too shabby. We'll use the opportunity to throw down an Armory, but of course not advancing in at the moment with the Priest here. We don't really want to give him any sort of Tarius draw, but we are going to receive a Bolt to the Armory. So pretty standard stuff overall happening. Now Tarius should have come out here. This could be a big interesting swing here. Does Duke have the removal for it? Will he use said removal on it here? It looks like we're going into the metal, into the Dragon's Fire. Okay, a little excessive in my opinion, just to kind of clear that out. But I guess when you don't have any better options, you're kind of forced to take dire precautions here. But we'll see how he's able to deal with a second Tarius now coming out on the board here, which I think is a nice follow-up play from Pipe. He's in no rush at this moment. He's not taking a ton of burn. Plus his hand overall not looking too strong here. The dual Spiny, the dual Arbiter, the one Bestial Rage. It could be better, so hopefully the Tarius can provide some form of additional support here. We will catch a Drain Life on this Tarius, though, which is a little unfortunate. It takes 2 damage, is still alive, but now the Imp going to probably swing in for 5. Chaotic Storm, chipping 2 from face and killing off said Tarius. So, a little annoying here, but thankfully, Armory going to come in handy here. Spiny being dropped down in response, Armory following up as well. That's going to be a nice way to clear out the Imp without any additional damage being taken on the castle by that, you know, slightly larger Imp here. Darkbender coming out now, Imp part 2 though. So now we're going to see some additional pressure from Duke here, although interestingly enough, he hasn't had the greatest card draw, I think, in this matchup. He does have Tarius Files, but has seemingly found no way to pop it. And we're not seeing things like books coming out from him. So he does have to be mindful of his resources here, whether or not he just kind of goes full force and try to pop the castle. It is close to halfway down, so hopefully maybe he's thinking that he has enough firepower in the arsenal to deal with it. We'll see if he can. Looks like we're going to... Okay. So Bolt on the Armory is fine. Tarius Files, I'm not sure if that was the proper... I mean, I guess to block off that square, I would like to see more damage coming in from him, but maybe he kind of held off knowing that in yellow you could be facing Craxus, and we are in Craxus range at this point. So maybe that was sort of a preemptive placement of just Tarius Files for now, rather than risking the Imp. It wouldn't have mattered, because I think Craxus still would have reached it, but... yeah, not too smart here. I'm rather going for the Arbiter here. We are going to pull a nice move with the Blacksmith and the Rammers plus Bestial Rage on the Spine. Not only will it be able to chip a little bit for 5, we can also swing back around and pop the Darkbender with the Rampage, as well as pushing in some additional forces. Would like the Blacksmith to be 1 square lower to block a potential Arbiter strike to the face. But I don't think it would have mattered here, because Tarius Files would have just been, you know, just cleared away. I don't think there would have been any way to defend it, but yeah, I guess. That's fine. Flamestorm coming in now. That is going to be a massive amount of card draw for Duke. 4 additional cards, all at discounted prices. More than likely, should be able to take out what Pipe has coming down the line here. Priest going to clear out the Spiny. The Chaotic Storm we saw cleared the Blacksmith. Books and Fear. Okay, so some more cycle tools. Looks like we're not going to... Okay, we are going to be able to kill the Rammers. We are. Another Chaotic Storm to finish it off, guess. Plus deal additional castle damage. At this point, no surprise here. We have to use one of these 2 Arbiters here just to survive in the matchup here. And here I think there was a smarter play here made. Knowing that we are not in sudden death range yet, he is cutting off Duke from the card draw, so that way he can not have more resources to kill him faster. And he is in no dire rush to actually hit Duke's castle because he does have another arbiter here. So I think hitting the books was the correct play. It keeps the resources even, and just so we don't see Duke extend to crazy heights here. But Craxus plus the third Taurus Files is not going to be easy until, okay, another Craxus coming out, which is fantastic. Gonna preemptively use Blessings as well, which I think is a fine play. I would have done it when you had a strike on Craxus to actually kill it. Because unless he had a global burn like another Dragon's Fire or Flamestorm, your Craxus would not have died. So I think just putting it out there would have been a fair idea. But I mean, again, the burn aspect of this deck makes it forgivable to pop the Blessing early, or at least understandable, I should say. But looks like we are going into the... okay, this was an interesting call here. I'm just going to quickly rewind that a bit. I don't know if this was the right play to make here. I mean, I get that you don't want to give him additional cards. You have a great opportunity here with the Bestial Rage to take out his Craxus, and meanwhile getting you a ton of additional cards as well. I think if you pop the Taurus Files, that would have been 2 cards for you. Popping his Craxus would have been an additional 2 cards to extend further to get a resource advantage that goes beyond the Taurus Files. So I'm not sure if just kind of walking off the distance was the play to make here, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Looks like Duke doesn't have a play, unfortunately. Craxus running in on the opposite side. We do, okay, have a second Craxus. That's not bad. Just gonna charge in with it. No fear whatsoever here. So now we have 3 Craxuses on the board. Craxi, if you will. One is in striking distance of the castle here. Duke is pulling in, I believe, the 5 cards. Yeah, 5 cards for the round. This could potentially drop down to 0, but I'm seeing the Darkbender in the corner there. Maybe unable to have a burn response to this here. Dragon's Fire, that is not going to cut it. He could do the Craxus, sure, but unfortunately the Craxus is not going to be able to allow anything to get played. We are on 0 gold. It looks like Pipe might walk away with this one. Bestial Rage here. Yep, I think he's got a 7 plus the 4 from Arbiters. Should be able to clean this game up. And then we see he is going to draw off the Taurus Files. So probably Arbiters here. Nope. Okay, going with the Centaur. Centaur Spiny, I think. Yeah, and he'll clean it up either way here, getting the kill on his own terms. For a not so bad matchup for Pipe here. I liked the different, I guess... well, I couldn't say elements here. That sounds so bad. I would like all the different elements here, because we've seen a lot of variation of this deck already. It's nothing that we actually haven't seen before here on the channel. And I think it was just played very well here in this certain matchup. I feel like Duke never really able to find the burns he needed, and if he did, all kind of just shotgunned where he could. And as you can see there, the Arbiters are a big problem for these matchups here in the Warlocks. I mean, restoring 10 health, nearly half your progress can be wiped out in an instant. It doesn't fare well. But overall, a great matchup here. Congrats to Pipe for winning game 1. Let's go ahead and take a look at game number 2, though, and see who else will show up in this episode. Alright, folks, and game number 2 is going to be Bart Sinson taking on our old pal, Vicious Val. Both actually in a mirror matchup in terms of faction colors, and Pirate Warlock at that. So it should be interesting here. We got a lot of control tools coming out from Bart, it looks like here. Val going to start off with the Elvish Thief down the middle. Not too bad here. We're going to see Disintegrate, though, immediately onto that Elvish Thief. Don't want any form of ramp or the fear draw. I guess we're going to conserve that fear for as long as we can. Lumberjack and Imp going to be the response play to that. However, I think Bart has a nice 2-for-1 here, potentially. Daggerstorm, as long as... Yep, looks like we are going to land 1 and 1 apiece. So taking out the 2-for-1, giving Val the card, but no big deal. Able to clear both the units. Really showing that this deck has a lot of control elements to it. But there is the big hurdle of this matchup here. Darkbender, at least at the moment. We're going to see Fear push it back. The Hovel in a... bit of a weird position as well, plus Primordial coming out. All right, not bad, not bad. Keeping the Primordial, as you can see, out of the Darkbender range, I believe. Looks like, though, Val has a Daggerstorm of his own, going to be able to clean up that Primordial Flame. Bart does need to give it an additional boost of health if he wants to keep it alive. He can in the form of Flame Shield, but the question is whether or not he will commit to that. We do see a bolt for the rusty hooks of all things, interestingly enough there. We do see the grotesque on the flame. I believe that was the right call. It is a dead unit anyway. You're not going to get much value out of it. So rather than sacking the rat, you could sack the already dead primordial flame to get that card draw value. So that was a nice play there. Into the Salahar Rider, looks like, as well for follow-up here. Being a little aggressive against the Darkbender, which I'm not sure I agree with, but we'll see if it works out. Blue Fire Bolt for Bart's Hovel, a little unfortunate there, cutting off his unit generation. Unfortunately, though, Darkbender catching the Salahar Last Will, making it susceptible to potential burns coming out of Bart's deck. Unfortunately, we don't see that, though. We do see a third copy of Flame Shield. Looks like we are going to see, though, some Flame Shields get played. Lumberjack as well for follow-up. Holding back the... Okay, nope. Another Flame Shield said Lumberjack, which I'm not sure I agree with there, because, of course, Bender can just pop it instantaneously. I would have maybe thrown it on the Construct or held it. But, yeah, we're going to see the Lumberjack get popped. Kind of a waste of the Flame Shield there. Followed up by Maddie yielding a Pyromancer for a turn. Not one that you see often, but certainly a scary card with the explosive triggers here. Keeper going to be the card, though, in response, followed by the Flames of Eternity trap card. Interestingly enough, that is being played in here. Not sure why. I guess this is just emphasizing that there is a high control aspect to this deck. Another armory, though, from Val, popping the Unstable Construct with said Pyromancer. Elvish Thief, unfortunately, for health, going to catch the Flame of Eternity trap card, killing it off instantly before it does anything on the board. And Bart going to pull Headwood and play for turn, probably, and just pass it there. A bit of a rough spot for Bart. He is nearly out of resources. Hasn't really been able to generate anything here. The Keeper is a bit of a hope for him, but, I mean, Darkbender going to take a huge chunk out of him with that 6 attack power. Maddie going to be the finishing blow, giving Bart a single Banshee. Banshee is okay. I don't think it's what he wanted to see, but definitely not the worst, since he can generate a spell off of that to maybe be another burn tool or another pirate mugging tool. Furnace coming out now, popping one of the armories. That's pretty big, keeping that buff value out of Val's reach. Not too shabby. We're going to see, though, another armory in response to that. So pretty much back where we were before, which is unfortunate here. Looks like the Pyromancer popping into the Headwood. Darkbender popping into the Furnace here, fearing back the Banshee as well to make it harder for any spell value to be pulled from Bart's side at the moment. And Bart, unfortunately, not really having a good follow-up here. The estate is not what you want to see. Estate's nice, but at this point in the game, it's a very, very dead-like card. We're going to see the Pyromancer, the Molten Pillar, the Darkbenders all now advance on the castle. Pillar actually is a very interesting choice here by Val. This is a pretty interesting control tool. You can put it in the spot that Val has put it in, and it creates this weird aura where... if you don't have a unit that is above 5 HP, you're at risk of losing it if you play it anywhere near that pillar. So you're forced to kind of use the top and bottom lanes to kind of push your units in. And again, it creates this weird scenario where if your opponent or whoever has the pillar has some additional control tools on board already, like I said, Darkbender, for instance, it makes it very difficult for you to advance your own troops, meaning that you'll probably be just controlled, manipulated until you get punched by something big as a follow-up down the line. So very interesting. We'll see if Bart's able to play around this or if he'll use it against Val in any sort of way here. Bolt, though, on the armory, the fresher armory, I would say that is a good call. The Flame Pillar, or Molten Pillar, excuse me, will end up popping here. It does actually pop Val's own Pyromancer, which is good for Bart. It kind of takes away from the fact that this game could have been over pretty much instantly at this point. But we'll see if he wants to push in with any of these Darkbenders, now weakened by the loss of armor here. And looks like one will push in for an 5 additional points of damage, excuse me. And a pass back on there. Bart pulling out a big card in the form of Mordok at this point here. That's pretty interesting. Unfortunately, we do not have any globals of our own to Mordok's health. I think here is definitely where something like a Flame Shield really could have been useful here. You could have established it on the Mordok here to make it so that way it can survive a Pillar Burst. But in this scenario here, we did need that for Dagger Storm. It looks like we are going to pop into the Darkbender, following up with the Dagger Storms to connect and kill off the last of Val's range units. Unfortunately, though, we do lose the Mordok, and this is where Pillar is getting some incredible value here. As we mentioned, things being played in this aura, this 3x3 of the Pillar, are going to be taking some damage regardless of alliance. So having that as a nasty control tool in your opponent's face could be really gross here. And we did see that Val also had hooks earlier, so a nice little play here that he has in deck apparently is hooking the castle early, or hooking the castle early, bringing it in closer into Pillar's range to start dealing some damage here. Unfortunately, we never saw that combo pop off, but it seems like this is one of Val's main deck strategies here. Mugging on the Horseman, Blacksmith for additional global support, and a pass back on that. Looks like Bart is going to play something here. Okay, he does have a Salahar Spitefish Grotesque play, which I think is going to be the move here. Yeah, it is the move. Sacking Spitefish to not only weaken Val's next gold, but also drawing cards here. And looks like we didn't really draw much. Flame of Eternity and the Armory. I mean, we could play the Armory. Oh, no, we don't. We just play the Flames. And, okay, we also open to the Blacksmith. I think in this case, that's a bit unfortunate here. I mean, doing the math, regardless of how you look at it, there is actually no way that Bart could have gotten himself out of it. Obviously, the Molten Pillar is just annoying. It's blocking the ideal spot for Primordial. Primordial can't really stay by here because regardless of if he'll survive the pillar or not, his own Inferno will damage the castle to the point where the next turn back will be a death by sudden death. So, unfortunately, no real way for Bart to play around that. But it does leave Val with a nice little victory here as Blacksmith coming in. Final point of 3 damage, and it looks like, yeah, okay, Val's gonna play it out. He's gonna get punished for the hooks play, but we're gonna slightly shame Val here for overextending. Regardless, looks like that will be the matchup here. Val walking away with the victory in a nice little control fashion-esque. I mean, I think he played the control game better than the more dedicated control deck did. But what can I say? Molten Pillar's a hell of a card here. We did see get massive value in this game here, popping a Mordok, which is incredibly gross, but hey, what can you do? What can you do? So congrats to Val for winning game number 2 here. But folks, we still have one more game to get to after all. So let's go ahead and take a look at game number 3. All right, and folks, our last matchup for the day sees an interesting matchup as Mark 3935 takes on Stonewall J, a Viking Crusader going up against a Ninja Warlock here. We'll see what both players, of course, are bringing to the table as we're going to go ahead and get started here. All right, okay. Interesting. I'm seeing Imp, I'm seeing Lumberjack, common things here. Dragon Knight Karasume over on the Ninja Warlock side. And I believe Dragon Search was the card from Mark just now, unless I'm mistaken here. I am going to rewind for my own sanity. Yet was Dragon Search. So we're going to see dragons out of Mark in this matchup here. So 2 unorthodox decks going up against each other. Stuff that we do love to see here on TV commentary. Looks like we're going to see the Imp get played for follow-up here. Lumberjack taking that point of damage to the castle as we go into the coin now, resulting in the Ice Drake for turn here. Ice Drake, a nice way to block off the Imp while also killing off the Lumberjack. Hopefully the Imp damage does go on the castle, which does, so we now have to forcibly trade into this Ice Drake here. A bit annoying, but also no follow-up for Jay here. He could have played Ramrus, but I guess chose not to waste that buff here. And we're at 3, so everything else is pretty unplayable, and everything I think is sitting at 4 gold, so it is a bit annoying here, but we'll see how Jay recovers if he decides to. Here, looks like we're going to get the Karasume for turn. Not bad, although pretty close to the castle here, especially up against the Viking deck. As we now see the Fire Drake looking to move into position. And actually, Fire Drake, a really nice pull for these colors, specifically of a dragon deck here. The explosive plus the combo of Chain from things like Temple and Lightning Blade will trigger multiple times when hit. So in a position like that we're seeing there, explosive triggers and then followed by the Chain. So 3 damage plus another 3 from the Karasume Chain. Yeah, it kind of creates a weird lightning explosion, if you will. So this is a great pull indeed. I think Jay recognized that going down with the Karasume popping the Armory for turn, a very safe location here. You love to see it. He does actually have the Arc Fire as well. I just noticed in hand here. That's a great tool to synergize with the Karasume here. Sume is a mage, so of course, Arc Fire bringing brought up just sort of a mini blue firebolt, if you will. Unable to be dealt to buildings, I believe. but still, it's 4 damage, and we don't really complain about that here. But we'll see what he has in store here. Looks like we're going to go for Dragon Knight. So I'm thinking I'm messing up my words. Plus the Ramrest, which is probably going to be what's taking out the Ice Drake up top there. Yep. Ramrest is, of course, a little inconsequential, so we can afford to sack it on something like that Ice Drake here. Aeroth, though, that's going to be pretty nasty. Okay, yeah, there was a Storm Strike involved. Thankfully, we played around it. We do lose the Sume, unfortunately, thanks to the math. Annoying, because I believe the deck is maybe focused around some potential bounce here in the form of maybe Dragon Knight, it looks like, or at least that's one of the tools. And this is really cool. Dragon Knight able to kind of pop out more Faithful Drakes, which buffed by things like Armory here can be quite a nuisance. I mean, Drake is already sitting at a stat line of 2-4, the Faithful anyway, and so having that potentially be buffed over multiple times could be pretty dangerous. And it looks like we are going to simply hit into the Faithful. I believe we went for a Search for the Truth, but maybe have whiffed or not being able to play anything this turn. Allowing Jay to kind of advance here. We're seeing a lot more units come down here. Shaman, another round of Dragon Knight. Everything else just kind of advancing forward here. Although Dragon's Fire... oh, well, we're not the Dragon's Fire player. I apologize. But say Dragon's Fire could be a way we can turn this around, but we are not playing Dragon's Fire. Jay is. Mark is not. Dragon Temple plus Green Drake with the Dragon Bolt. Again, not super impactful here. Jay going a bit more of a control aspect here, popping the Temple for turn, advancing everything else forward as well. Not too shabby, knows that this is a Dragon deck, but there's a big pull. Yenneroth off of 6 gold, mind you. So probably taken from the... either taken from the Search for Truth or discounted by the Dragon Bolt. I forgot how much Dragon Bolt discount is, or if it's actually from turn to turn. It's been a while since I played that specific card here. But regardless, a combo of Yenneroth and Ride are going to be a good way to start cleaning up this board just a little bit until the Shadow Slip came into hand, that is. Slipping away both Knights and the Faithful here. It allows for, again, more Drakes to be produced here, and we've basically doubled the amount of Drakes in our control here, which is not bad at all. We are not respecting Yarm or Chain, though, against this matchup, which is a little concerning. One Yarm can do a hell of a lot of damage in this case, so we'll see if Mark has the punish. Looks like we are not able to. A little late for the journey on that Faithful Drake there. We did trade in with the Yenneroth before rather than after, and even now Drake going into, or Green going into the Faithful. Faithful survives, does retaliation of 3. A little messy with that freeze, but not too serious, I guess. Well, actually, maybe. I mean, we're seeing Dragon's Fire plus Shaman being an efficient way to clean up this board completely. But we're still under Yarm here, a big Yarm threat. I mean, we could hit the bottom Drake. It's going to chain to virtually everything. Okay, or Yenneroth keeping things in place yet again. Here we do pop the weaker of the 2 Faithful Drakes here. It looks like we are going for a line just right to the castle. Does get lucky on the Horseman, though. Horseman plus Armory, the 3 plus 5, just enough to pop a Yenneroth for turn. We do need that Yarm, though, seriously. Is it coming this turn? We do pull a Search. Divine. Unfortunately, this is a lot of draw power for sure, but one that is not resulting in a Yarm here, and this is going to allow Jay to kind of... Ooh, do a couple things actually here. The Throne Shadow Dance combination is very nasty. He can get 2 Shadow Dances, 2 bounces, and can essentially pop these Dragon Knights all over again at stronger cost too. 4-4 into 6-6 from the Armories here. We did not use the second one. Looks like we don't have enough to replay Head Dragon Knight, so I guess that's why we held off for now. Yenneroth gonna hit the board. Plea of the Righteousness, which is neat. This does allow Yenneroth to somewhat try and survive here, but we'll see what happens. We do have Guard, which is a nice play, potentially. It looks like, yep, we are going to bounce one of these Dragon Knights, though, creating another 6-6, plus another 4-6 Drake, which is not too shabby. Burning off the Yenneroth with one of the blue fire bolts into, yeah, it looks like Guards for killing the Yenneroth, which is fine. Could have actually used a Vanish Strike there to kept the Guard alive and bring it back to spawn more. But I mean, I guess at this point you're using Vanish Strike more as an OTK tool here, or at least a you know, game ender, so that's understandable. But overall, folks, an incredible matchup so far here. I love Jay's use of the Dragon Knight bounce synergy here. He's really showing off the wonders it can do, and I might actually, I don't know if I want to try this deck myself. Regardless, though, Mark has another trick up his sleeve, though. It is the big, the bad, the Dramoth here. We do, I think, have a way to out it, though. I mean, the combination of burn in our hand plus the amount of units we have close to the board already, I think, is going to be more than enough to end it here. I think probably should be, okay, Vanish Strike on Dragon Knight. I mean, unless we want, okay, more damage going into Fate. No, okay, we do not. Okay. I mean, I guess you're preserving more units, but in this case, I don't think it would have mattered if you had hit, but sure, however you want to play it. I mean, there's still a lot of units on board here. It will take another miracle for Mark to bounce back. We're seeing some defenses. Another search for the truth here, folks. I don't think this is a 3 of card necessarily. When it bricks like this, sure, you're getting a lot of cards in your hand, but we're seeing them not hit the board. It's just kind of sitting there rotting in his hand. And maybe he's just whiffing, but I never think 3 search for truth is the way. Regardless, we're going to see another Lumberjack coming out, hit the board, a Faithful, cost reduced by said search, I believe, and yeah, another pass back for Jay. At this point, Jay's got a lot of lines to the lethal goal here. Horseman popping one of the Lumberjacks. We can easily just move around the Drake. Yep, pop there. Bolt cleaning up the Temple, weakening the Drake enough to get it popped for... it doesn't even matter. We just swing in right there. Easy as that. And with that, folks, Stonewall Jay, the winner of this matchup with an incredible, incredible display of Bounce Dragon Knights here. That's actually, I mean, that's a pretty interesting deck, honestly. I don't know if it's just me, but feeling motivated to try that specific list now, maybe, or at least one that I should make on my own. But hey, folks, an incredible matchup here, and a certainly no better way to end off this episode, I would say, than this matchup right here. So, again, congrats to Jay for taking the win in game number 3. But let's go ahead and move out to close the video since this is our last game for the day. Alright, folks, and with that being so, hope you guys did enjoy this edition of a TV commentary. Let me know what you guys thought of today's match, leaving your thoughts down in the comments section below. Definitely some good games all around today, and we love to see it. We absolutely love to see it. So, I don't think I have much more to add, so be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Be sure to share with your friends. Be sure to comment down below your thoughts, as always. And subscribe if you're new or haven't done so already, so that you could support the channel after all at no additional cost you. I feel like I looked down for a lot of that just now. I don't know why. Anyway, folks, with that being said, that's going to do it for me for now. Until next time, stay gaming.